Let's make use of the methods file to look at some of the more common methods that go with the range object. So a method is not a property of the range object, but an action of the range object. So something the range object can do. Inside the Visual Basic here, we've set up the skeletons again for a sub-procedure that will allow us to look at some of the example methods. One quite common method is the select method. So to be able to actually select parts of a sheet. So again, we use the range object, range, let's say B3 colon F3, close speech marks, close brackets, dot select. And you'll see it's there in the list, and it's a method as opposed to a property because it has that little green flying icon. Let's run that and see what happens. So back in Excel, B3 to F3, which is that range there, has now been selected. Now, if you want to select a range that is perhaps not on the current worksheet, or you want to make sure that you move to the correct worksheet, then before you actually do any selecting, it's usually a good idea to activate the sheet that you wish to be on. So it's sheets, open brackets, open speech marks, in our case, sheet 1, dot activate. And you'll see that when we run that, nothing different appears to have occurred. We've still highlighted the same range. But if we went back into the VBA and changed that to sheet 2, rerun, we go back to Excel and we're now in sheet 2 and that same range is selected. So you've activated the correct sheet before you've selected the range. What you cannot do is actually put this as a prefix to that. You can't say sheets, etc. dot range, etc. dot select. That just does not work. We have to activate the sheet first, or we can use the goto command, which is actually a method of the application object, just to complicate matters a little more. So it's application.goto. You can see it's in the list there. And then we tell it to go to sheets 1 and range. So all that whole line does is effectively run the goto command, which is the same as running it in Excel, tells it to go to sheet 1 and to the range B3 to F3. We would still need to then tell it to select that range. So although it would take us there, it wouldn't select it. So that statement is exactly the same as that statement. Either way, you're making sure you're on the correct sheet that you want to be on. Now, as well as being able to select specific parts of your sheet, we can use VBA to do copy and paste. Let's have a little routine for that. So copy paste. If we want to take some of our data, for example, let's say the whole of that range there, which is A1 to M5, and copy and paste it a little bit further down, then we can do that. First thing is we need to select the correct range. Let's save some typing here. We're going to select sheet 1, and we're going to select the range A1 to M5. Having selected the range, we would then like to copy it. So we can use the keyword selection dot copy, return. We then need to move it down the sheet to where we'd like to paste. So let's go range. You know that with Excel, you only need to select the top left-hand cell before you paste the whole area. So we can do the same thing. We can move down to A11 to select, and then let's paste using the active sheet as our object dot paste. So we're selecting the first sheet and making that the active sheet. We then select the range A1 to M5. We then copy that range. We then select A11 and then we paste in on the active sheet. So that will paste in the current contents of the clipboard. So let's take that procedure and run. And if we have a look in Excel, you see it's copied that area there and pasted it into here. Now that seems quite long-winded, and in fact it actually is. Let's just shorten up the lines there, and I'll show you a much faster method. So we'll have copy paste 2. We still need to select the range that we'd like to copy. But instead of actually selecting it, what we're going to do is activate the current sheet for the range object A1 to M5, Let's go directly into copy mode, and dot's fine. Copy. You can see there it's a method. And then within the same command line, we can actually tell it where to paste. You can see the tooltip is helping us out. We'll say, okay, let's paste that. We'll actually put it in a different place so we can see that it occurs. And let's move down to A20. So one line does the whole select, copy, select new area, paste. We are copying this range and we are pasting it there. Let's copy paste 2, put our little 2 on there and run that. And we'll see we've now got a second area that is being done by the much shorter syntax-wise sub-procedure. So although there's nothing wrong with this, this is a lot shorter. We've done the selecting, the copying and the pasting all in one row. And it's always nice to get your code as short as possible. So we've been able to select areas, we've been able to copy and paste them. We can also clear the contents of cells. Now there are actually 3 clear methods. There's .clear on its own, which will clear the contents and the formatting of a given cell or column or row, and .clear contents, which only clears the contents but retains the formatting, and .clear formats, which only clears the formatting but leaves the contents. So if we wanted to use either or any of those on our sheet, let's create a subroutine, call it empty cells. And we want to clear set range on our sheet. Let's clear the end of our little mini table. So that's cells M1 to M5 dot clear. And you can see there the 3 options. Clear will clear everything. Clear contents will clear contents but not the formatting. Clear formats will clear the formats but not the contents. And we even have an option to clear the comments, so that will delete any comments you have on a cell. Let's go totally for clear and then run this. And you should find, back in Excel, contents there have gone. So there's no December on our first little mini table there. So bear in mind that clear clears the contents and the formatting. Clear contents only clears the contents. Clear formats only clears the formats. Now, although that's clearing, and there is a big distinction between that and deleting, although we have deleted the contents, the VBA and Excel refer to that as clearing the contents because the cells stay in the same position. You can actually delete cells. Let's have a separate routine for that. Now, if we want to delete a whole row or a whole column, then we can use the rows or the columns object. So let's take out a whole row. So we're taking out rows 5. So it's 5 colon 5 to take out the whole of row 5. And you'll see dot delete. Hide that out here. Just quickly look in Excel to see what we've got in row 5. And we have Mike and all of his numbers. Back in the VBA, we delete those cells and have a look. And we see Mike's gone. Now when you delete a row, in this case, the row is removed and its contents, and all the rows below move up 1. So all of these rows have moved up. You'll see that that's actually started in 11. It now starts in A10. That started in A20, now starts in A19. So it's different to clearing. Clearing takes the contents out, but the row effectively stays intact. Deleting deletes the whole row and then moves the current contents up. I'm sure you can appreciate from when we used the rows command before, this could have been a number of rows by going 5 colon 10 example. We can delete columns by doing columns, open brackets, the letter, colon, the letter, dot delete. When you want to do this deletion to a range, we have to tell it which way to move things, which I'm sure you've seen if you try to delete things with Excel. If we go to Excel, for example, and try to delete these cells, so on the home ribbon, delete cells, Excel wants to know, well, okay, I'm going to take those out, but that's going to leave a big gaping hole in the spreadsheet. So which way should I move everything else? Should I move cells to the left? Should I move them up? Or do you actually mean get rid of the entire column or all of these rows? So because we were going to get that dialog box, we have to allow for that in our VBA. We want to get rid of a range. And that range is not a whole column or a whole row, it's a range of cells. So let's look at getting rid of G1 to G5. Dot delete. Now when you press space at the end of delete, you'll see there's a tooltip to give you an optional parameter. It's in speech marks because it's optional. It's asking you which way to shift the cells to fill the gap. Now, effectively, that's either up or to the left. And it's a VBA constant, which we can put in of Excel to left. And that will delete those 5 cells and move everything to the left. Or Excel, well, actually, let's do a copy and paste. We can't run both commands, but we can show both. And it's Excel up. So that would move all the cells up. So let's comment one of those out and rerun delete cells. Let's just check what is in G1 to G5. Well, that's those cells there. So that's the June figures. And we've allowed them to move left after it's deleted them. So if we run that, what you then should find is June has gone, but the other months have moved across to the left. If we go back in and change the comments around, we're going to delete exactly the same cell, so that's July, but move the cells up to fill the gap. Run, back in Excel, it's taken out July, but moved all of these cells up. So now the Junes from the other 2 mini tables are all askew because they've moved up 5 cells. So that's the delete option. Using it with rows and columns is fine. It will take out the whole row, it'll take out the whole column. If you're using it for ranges of cells, then you need to add in one of the key constants of Excel to left, tells everything to shift to the left, or Excel up to move everything up. And these really are the main methods you will use of the range object. We have delete option, clear with its 2 little friends, clear contents, clear formats, the copy option, and paste.